Welcome to this week's episode of The Higher Self. Today we're going to be talking about how do we manage all of the fear that we're feeling from the current political climate. There's a lot of you that have immigrant backgrounds, and as a result, this is a specifically sensitive topic. By the way, as do I, and so I thought I would address this because if you are really ready to awaken and live from your highest self, you've got to understand that when things happen in the world, there's something much deeper that is going on, and there is always an opportunity. There's an opportunity for you to transcend the fear and darkness and return to the light and to love. This is going to be a sensitive topic because it has to do with politics, of course, and so I want to start off by just asking you to ground your energy, right? And if you are already feeling wah, right, that feeling, I want you to just calm down and understand that I'm not going to address, Trump, the policies, any of that stuff. I'm going to talk about the energy underneath all of that. All right. So first things first, you have to understand, or you don't have to, you get to one day awaken to the fact that when you are no longer focused on living as your societal self, what does that mean? That means the version of you that is connected to, attached, and living from what society tells you to live from, or the energy of it, right? And you are ready to live from your spiritual self. What does that mean? That's the part of you that is deeply rooted in the process of leaving the fear of your mind and returning to your heart, and deeply committed to living a life of love, right? When you do that and you are living from your spiritual self, you start to see things that happen here on the planet very, very differently, right? And in order to understand that, you've got to understand that in life, there are two energies that we could live from, fear or love, or the darkness and the light, right? And so the tool that dark energy uses in order to keep us from light and from love, which, by the way, from returning to oneness with God. Think about that for a second. Oneness with God. Like, I like to think of it as like if God were walking around planet Earth, how would God live? Would God be anxious? Would God be afraid? Would God be in drama? Would God be broke financially, emotionally, spiritually? Or would God be like loving life? Would God be wealthy? That's one that I know bothers some of you. But if it's available, would God be wealthy? Would God be generous? Would God be giving? Think about that. Because your ultimate goal is to be more like God. And so in order to do that, you have to remove, or think of starting the process of removing anything that is keeping you from that. In this case, anything that is keeping you in the energy of fear, right? Because what is the goal of darkness? Please understand this. Darkness needs you as a human being to stay in the energy of fear for it to survive. Literally, I want you to picture like dark entities, and they literally do things here on the planet to cause you to stay in fear because they suck that energy from you and they live from that. That's how this stuff works. So in this case, we're dealing with a situation where, if you look at the past 4 years, I'm not going to get political, but let's just say that a lot of people came over. That, listen, let me ask you a question to just ponder. Do you have a home? Answer yes or no. Okay, good. Do you protect that home? Answer yes or no. Yeah. And do you have rules for that home, for who can come into that home and who cannot? By the way, I'm not saying the rules are right or wrong. I'm just asking you a simple question. I think the answer to all of those questions is going to be yes, right? Yeah. Okay, great. Well, if you think about it, America is like a home. And America has its set of rules, right? Whether we like them or not, I will get to the energetic side in a second. And over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of people that have taken advantage of those rules. Now, pause. Here's what happens. When we live in oneness, yes, we want to see a world without boundaries, without barriers. Absolutely. But we also get to be realistic and understand that the world that we live in right now, not everyone is living in love, and therefore we get to protect our home. And so what is happening right now is a movement to protect our home. Pause. How you relate to that is completely dependent upon the energy, thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are going on inside of you. And this is where things get a little sensitive, because remember, dark energy wants one goal: separation. It wants you to see yourself based off of the color of your skin. It wants you to think of yourself based off of the country you were born in. It wants you to see yourself in that way, because when you see yourself in that way and identify with a race, even a religion, economic class, whatever, then you cannot possibly be in oneness with the Creator. You can't. I don't care how many times you go to church. You can't. Because you're still in separation. Because you unconsciously see yourself as different than someone else, based solely on the color of your skin and their skin. And you might put other people on a pedestal based off the color of their skin, or you might look down on them based off the color of their skin. My question to you would be, if God were here right now, would God live life like that? The answer is no. I'm not even going to let you answer that one. God would live life in a state of love. God would love all beings regardless of what they look like. God would focus on what's inside. You know, we love Dr. Martin Luther King's speech where he wants us to look at people based off the color of their character, not the color of their skin. And yet we still judge ourselves based off of the color of our skins because we identify in that way. And so when we identify in that way, we are living in separation. Therefore, energetically, we are not and cannot be living in the frequency of love or in the frequency of oneness with God. Therefore, we are living unconsciously. I'm not saying you're doing this on purpose. By the way, this was me too, right? So I'm trying to help you with this. In the frequency of fear. So when the frequency of fear is within you and you are living from the frequency of fear, remember what I've taught you guys so many times on this show? You attract and create and see life from that energy. And you literally start to call in things to put your energy towards that match vibrationally the energy of fear inside of yourself. And it will always be that way until you decide to start your journey of awakening, healing, and transforming into the spiritual being that you really are. Until you decide to have the courage to let go of anything that separates you from oneness with God, oneness with each other, and oneness with life, you will always unconsciously be living in the energy of fear. And as a result, you will always unconsciously be attracting from the energy of fear. So you will see things that the energy of fear wants you to see. You will live life in the way that the energy of fear wants you to live. You will attract the money, the partners, the health, the everything that the energy of fear that lives within you wants you to experience, because it wants you stuck there forever. In order to not miss these episodes or the weekly clips that we provide that will help you in the 3 energies of human mastery: how to change your financial life, how to change your relationship life, and how to heal yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually, make sure to subscribe right now to the channel. Trust me, it'll be the greatest decision and action you take today, because the value we are committed to bringing you is going to be life-changing. Go ahead and subscribe right now. So in this case, if you feel fear because of the current administration, or you feel fear because of what is happening in the political climate right now, may I ask you a very tough question? Could it be that out in the world, there are other people who either don't feel fear or don't even pay attention to what's happening to the political world? I'm just throwing it out there. Because you got to understand that even politics in and of itself is another form of separation. It's meant to keep you divided. One side versus another side. Can you see past your side, and can you see into the energy of it all? It's the same thing as rich and poor. It's the same thing as beautiful and ugly, right? All of these paradigms and prisons that the mind lives in. And so until you heal that energy within, guess what you are always going to see? Whether it's this year, this president, the next president, the president 20 years from now, you will never get the lesson that your soul is calling this experience in to teach you. That you are not the color of your skin. That you are not a political party. You are a soul having a human experience. And part of that human experience is learning to detach yourself and not focus on the things that drive human beings up the wall. People are literally right now afraid or mad or angry or fighting or hostile. Or do you want to live your life like that? I'm just asking you a question. Do you want to live your life like that? Because chaos is optional. It's completely optional. You don't have to. You choose to. Can you let go? Here comes the magic word in all spiritual awakening and healing. Can you let go? Half the people that have reached out to us, like, there's nothing to even be afraid of. They're just watching the news, and the news is programming them to be afraid. Can you let go of watching the news for the next year? Can you do that? Why do you need it? Why do you have to know what's going on? Could it be that dark energy uses the news to keep you in a constant state of fear so that you never fulfill your dreams and your incredible life that you deeply want to live, so that you never come closer to God? What if it's just literally designed as a test here in life to get you to finally awaken, to realize that year after year after year after year, it is the same bullshit, and it always will be, and you easily get caught up in it and sucked up into the game and the drama that the dark side wants you to get caught up into? Are you going to die like that? Because if this affects you, what happens when the next president shows up? Or the next one? Or the next one? Or the next one? Is your life up for grabs? Are your emotions, your energy, your power, your willpower, is all of that up for grabs? Because if it is, it always will be. And so you see, I wanted to bring you this episode so that you can understand that are things going on right now? Yes, but guess what? They're always going on. Dark energy wants you to feed the thing that's going on with your energy. The more you look at it, the more you talk about it, the more that you engage in it, the more that your energy is being used to create more separation, to keep us in a constant state of being separate from God and oneness with each other. And all I'm here to tell you is that it will always happen until you stop identifying yourself based off of this. So a lot of my Hispanic brothers and sisters out there, you identify as a Hispanic, and that is why you're feeling what you're feeling. The lesson here is you're not Hispanic. For that matter, you're not black, you're not white, you're not Chinese, you're not Asian, you're not anything. You're not your religion. You're a soul having a human experience. And for as long as you identify yourself as something, you will always be thrust into the problems and the energy of whatever that group is dealing with. Which if you're ready for that, that's great. I'm just going to ask you. Many of you know people who literally are 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, sitting in front of a TV, mad at the TV, what's happening with the TV. And they're getting close. They're getting close to like passing. And I can guarantee you, if you look at that person's life, that person probably didn't live an exemplary life. That person probably didn't achieve their dreams. They couldn't. Because if they did, they wouldn't be sitting in front of the TV, allowing the TV to tell them what to feel and how to act. So is this a test? Yeah. Will you continue to feed the energy of separation? Will you continue to feed the energy of fear? Or will you simply allow yourself to see everything that's happening as perfect? All I'm telling you is that this message comes from love, and I just want you all and all of us to understand what's happening on the deeper level. Because for as long as we keep allowing ourselves to be played like this, we'll never experience heaven on earth. Your emotions are the doorway to you connecting to a spiritual life. You're free to allow anyone to use them, or you're free to say that today is the last day. And if you turn off that TV, you close your eyes and you ask God to show you the truth and to help you to move away from fear and into love, you will be astounded at how incredible God will move and how incredible life will become. That's my message for this week. Last week's episode was well received. I saw all of your comments on YouTube. For those of you that want to take things a little bit deeper, I just uploaded a masterclass on spirituality, energy, how all of life works in our online community, Awaken You. This is something that people all over the world, literally all over the world, were paying $900 for. And I got the download that I'm supposed to make this available and accessible to everyone. Because this is just one subject. There's so many more on relationships, finances, health, that are keeping you stuck and keeping you blocked. And if you're ready to go deeper, I actually cut the cost down from $900 to $9. It's going to be the best investment you've ever made. So just go to DannyMorel.com/awakenu. And I would say touch on, before you do the meditations that we have there for you, the financial stuff, all of that, start focusing on in the spiritual tab on the masterclass and all the classes that we have there. Because once you get that right and the energy right, then the money, the relationships, the health, all of that will simply follow. And if you do join, go into the community, let us know who you are and where you're from and what's one thing that you want to change about your life. I want to personally welcome you into our community and into Awaken You. We'll see you next week with another episode.